Hey, Kati, do you want to add an agenda item for an introduction?
Yep, sure thing. I will do that now.
Thank you. Cool, we can go ahead and get started. We have some read-onlys in there, and then Jen has the first topic. Take it away. Oh, wait, I don't see Jen. But I see Loren. Loren, do you want to cover that one?
Sure, yeah, I can do that. So you all might have gotten a personal invitation to a Qualtrics survey for Dovetail, and we are trying to assess the value that the tool is providing. So if you would take a few moments, it comes directly from Qualtrics. So if you have a license in Dovetail, we sent you an email. If you don't have a license, but you want to provide feedback, please do so. Just reach out to Jen or myself and we can get you a link. Also, if there's any tools that are related to research that you're interested in or would like us to look more into, don't hesitate to join our Slack channel, which I'll post the name in the agenda here. Come and talk about tools. We're always open to looking at new things.
Thank you. Thanks for covering that. All right, Kati.
Yes, and apologize, my video is not working correctly, so I can't switch it on at the moment. But yes, I'd like to welcome Catherine Pope to our team. She's just recently joined the technical writing team as of yesterday. And Catherine, we have a couple of questions in our agenda for you. And so sorry to put you on the spot, but they're easy questions, I promise. So where were you before GitLab?
I was at Circle CI.
And why did you want to join our team?
Because earlier in the year we started using GitLab a lot at Circle CI, and it was awesome, and I got very excited once I started exploring it. So as soon as I saw there was a vacancy, I was very keen to join.
And where are you located?
I am in Brighton on the south coast of England, about 50 miles from London, where it's very, very cold and wet and blustery today.
And finally, what do you like to do for fun outside of work?
As you can probably see, I live in a tiny library, so mainly it's reading and writing and eating are my three favorite activities.
Great. Thanks so much, Catherine, and welcome again. We're very, very excited to have you here.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome, Catherine. We're very excited to have you. I like to read too. I'm very jealous of the beautiful library that you live in. That's very cool.
No, thank you, Christy.
All right, everybody. This was a very short agenda that went very quickly today. So I'm going to do what I did 2 or 3 months ago and just open it up. What y'all want to talk about? AMA. What's on your minds?
I have a quick question.
Yay! I knew it. Daniel, yes.
So does anyone else have any problems finding what they're looking for in Dovetail? They did a change in the platform or something, and now when you log in, the homepage is not a homepage, it's just a list of stuff. And it before it used to have like a recent section or something, or am I the only one that sees this?
I feel the same. Like, I think there was like recent project pins somewhere in the navigation so that I could just really easily reach to my working in progress project. But now I have to use the search bar and then use the keyword georeplication and then go to navigate to that project. That it's not a good user experience so far.
Okay, so Daniel, you're not alone. That's what you've learned. It's not just you. I do think that we as a department have had a lot of questions about Dovetail, its usability, its value, which is why the UXR team has sent this survey out. So please do respond in the survey. And I think the type of feedback you're offering here is probably relevant to the UXR team. So I would capture that in your survey response as well. Loren, and is that right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. What I'll say is it's an inexpensive tool. So we want to make sure if it's, if we're using it, that we are getting the value we need from it.
I have another kind of random subject. I was, and sorry, I'm not typing this, so if somebody could type for me. I went to KubeCon last week in Detroit, and Erika and Will were there as well from our larger UX department. And it was, I'll share some just quick insights. We don't have anything formal written out, but it was a really great experience. Personally, it was my first time meeting people in person from GitLab, so that was very exciting for myself. But also the users that were there were GitLab users, and then there was also people using other products. And people came up to our booth just saying that they love GitLab. And I think as being part of the UX department, like we hear a lot of the pains that people have with GitLab. So getting that other perspective of what they love about GitLab was really great. And then Erika and Will put in so much work to get a bunch of these research activities that we had going on at the booths. And they were all ready and they were easy to go through. And we got some really great feedback from users as well with those surveys, and then like actual moderated sessions that we were able to run with them, mostly about secrets for the moderated sessions. So Erika and Will, did you want to add anything?
I'll go first and say I was actually there in spirit. So I was like behind the scenes, but I felt like I was there, and I kept having this feeling of like, I have to go give Gina a break, or like, I need to go make sure Will is okay. And then I'm like, oh, no, I'm not in Detroit at all. But for me, it was a really great example of our values and how we can work remotely. And thanks so much to Gina and Will for literally being there and seeing things through. And then we were able to do like 202 survey responses. We recruited for a marketing focus group. So we found leaders for them and ran a focus group, and then did 29 user interviews. So we're calling it 232 touch points with users. But I think that was just the tip of the iceberg because we had lots of good stuff.
I will add on to a lot of what Gina and Erika have already said. Specifically the fact that we were actually able to meet a lot of people that said very positive things about GitLab while we were there. I think sometimes we're in a little bit of a bubble where we are only looking at what are the pain points that users are experiencing, and not really focusing so much on what do they actually like about our tool. And it's just great to hear some of that positive feedback, and people that were coming up to the booth saying, hey, I use a competitor tool, but I wish I could switch to GitLab, or I've used GitLab in the past. I wish I could get back there. My company or my team is just not there yet. So that was like really encouraging to hear.
I love that y'all are sharing this. Gina, thank you for bringing the topic up. So I'm with y'all. That is all we talk about. All we talk about are the deficiencies, which, I mean, it makes logical sense, right? It's what we're here to do is to make the product the best that we can, but it can get demoralizing. So do you all remember any of the things that you heard where someone said like, this thing, I really like this thing, or was it more just kind of general positive?
Some of the specifics I heard, they were kind of just focused on when people would ask me what I do at GitLab, and I said that I was working on pipeline insights and the runner groups. And then when I said runner, I had at least 5 people be like, oh, I love GitLab runner, and they have a lot of flexibility with that. So that was really cool. Obviously, that's a little bit more behind the scenes than the stuff that's in the UI though, because that was more about the command line tool.
Oh, that's great.
And we were able to use, we really leveraged Qualtrics a lot, maybe too much, because we kind of came up with some quick plans when I was sick. But we did collect feedback from everyone on what they learned via Qualtrics. So that's still open. And then so next week we might have like a summary of what everyone learned. The idea being like to break down tribal knowledge in silos for people who got to go.
Awesome. I put it in the agenda as may have a summary next week-ish so that you're not committed to anything specific. Yeah, I think we'd love to hear the insights. And then, yeah, if you have some positive stuff coming out of it too, by all means, share that as well.
One last note also is, I think since most of the people there were developers, saying that you were a product designer or saying that you're a researcher, like they were actually really interested in learning more about what we do, especially if they don't have like either of those positions at their company. So we were kind of able to explain the importance and value that we provide. And I thought that was cool too, just sharing that.
That's really neat. I think it's easy for us to forget that a lot of companies don't have the robust, mature UX department that we do.
Just to jump on the positivity feedback train, I was on a random coffee chat yesterday with a sales person, and when she heard that I was in UX, she was like, oh, you probably hear all the complaints and try to meet users' needs and all that sort of stuff. And she said, you would be so surprised because she's in charge of current customers. And she's like, from free all the way up to large enterprise customers, premium customers. She's like, she kind of described it as almost a cult-like status. They love the work that we do and the tool that they use and how much it helps them, and they like defend it outwardly, so it was just interesting to get the same vibe that you guys are talking about from someone who's internal to GitLab but deals with a completely different sort of problem space that we do.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great. I love that this came up. It's important to talk about the good stuff. Cool. All right, Sasha.
Yes, sorry for the colors. It's already night time here.
It's really cool. It looks like you're in like a rave or a disco or something. It's great.
So I went to DrupalCon right before my parental leave together with Nick Venhoff, and we both had a talk, and Nick ordered a ton of giveaways. So we had like 50 plus t-shirts and a ton of sticker and whatever. We did not have a booth, but we got lots of good feedback about our product. And I spoke to almost all the companies which had, which were in the exhibition, and they are actually almost all using GitLab as well, including the Drupal open source project on its own. So there was a lot of love and a lot of good feedback about our product. So it's nice to see. Yes, and I'm back. Thank you, Blair.
That's super cool to hear. I love hearing how many of the exhibitors were using our tool. That's great.
They were actually all, but only like 2 were using GitHub, and everybody else was using GitLab. and there were like 40 plus companies. So yeah, it was quite nice to see.
That's incredible. All right, we have a couple of topics on there for what's bugging you, what's your biggest pain point right now, or if you're working on something that you're really proud of or excited about. Anybody have anything in those topics?
I have a question that's not related to those topics, actually.
That's fine.
I'm sure this is already known to everyone. I forgot though, why are these recordings of the UX Weekly not on YouTube? Or are they?
I think someone would have to go personally upload them every single week.
Okay.
There's no way that I know of to automatically have them upload, and I do not currently have an EBA or someone to do that for me. Unless you're volunteering, Annabelle.
I am not. Follow-up question to that then, when are you getting an EBA?
Don't know. But we do make sure that they are recorded so that anyone internal to the company can access them. They did fall off for a little bit. Something happened with the automation for recording and putting on Drive, but I believe that it is fixed now.
Okay, great.
All right. A little more staring. All of your beautiful faces. Just keep them here just a moment longer because I enjoy them so much. Okay, looks like that might be it today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.